Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, knowing that everything you desire is just beyond the horizon. All the love, the success, the experiences, and the freedom you've longed for are already out there. But the key to bringing it all closer, to make it yours, lies within you. Too often we're told to work harder, to push more, to battle against the tides in hopes of reaching our dreams. But what if I told you that attraction is not a battle, but an art? An art that, when mastered, brings your desires directly to your doorstep. Many believe life is like a game of chance, where luck determines who rises and who remains stagnant. But those who have tapped into the power of attraction understand that it's not chance, it's a choice. The energy you hold, the beliefs you carry, and the thoughts you nurture become magnets for the life you live. Your current reality isn't a random assortment of experiences, but a mirror reflecting what you have been projecting. This isn't just philosophy, it's a call to realize that you are not at the mercy of life's randomness. What if, starting today, you took control of that power within you? What if you embraced the truth that every thought, every feeling, and every action is a deliberate step towards shaping your reality? Most people wander through life unaware of this incredible ability they hold. They see obstacles as immovable, desires as unattainable, and life as unchangeable. But what separates those who merely dream from those who live their dreams is the choice to act on this power, to choose to attract what they want rather than wait for circumstances to change. Let's go even deeper. Attraction doesn't mean forcing something into your life. It means aligning yourself so closely with what you desire that it naturally flows to you. It's about clearing the internal resistance, releasing doubts, and moving with an unstoppable confidence that what you want is already yours. This shift in mindset transforms everything. Imagine waking up each day not as a passive receiver, but as an active creator of your life story. Imagine the confidence and peace that would bring. Today I want to share 7 key principles for mastering this art of attraction. If you listen carefully and apply these insights, you'll discover that attracting what you want is not only possible, but inevitable. The power to shape your reality is in your hands. You're not a spectator, you're the creator. Let's explore exactly how you can begin to attract what you truly want. Clarity is the foundation of attraction. If you're not clear about what you want, how can you expect the universe, or even your own mind, to align with your vision? I think about it this way: if you got into a car and started driving with no destination in mind, would you ever expect to arrive somewhere meaningful? Would you waste time, energy, and resources moving in circles? Life operates in much the same way. Without clarity, you'll find yourself bouncing between conflicting desires, never fully committed to any one outcome, and feeling frustrated when progress doesn't come. The first step in attracting what you want is to clarify your desires so they become an unshakable target. But clarifying your desires isn't just about making a list of wants. It's about going deeper to understand the motivations behind each desire. Why do you want a particular career, a relationship, a home, or a lifestyle? What do you truly hope to feel and experience? Often we aim for superficial goals because they're what society has taught us to pursue, but attraction requires sincerity. You can't fool yourself into wanting something you think you should want. You must connect with what genuinely stirs your soul. When your desires resonate with your deepest values and passions, attraction becomes effortless because you are working from a place of truth and alignment. To clarify your desires, you must also be willing to explore your own mind with honesty. Take a moment to ask yourself, what does my ideal life look like? Visualize it vividly. Don't hold back or edit yourself to fit within the confines of realistic thinking. Attraction doesn't rely on realism, it relies on conviction. Visualize in detail the life you would live if there were no limits, no barriers, and no fears. Think about where you would live, the work you'd do, the relationships you'd nurture, and the way you'd carry yourself. Write it all down as clearly as possible, allowing yourself to dream freely. This process is not just about listing goals, but about capturing the emotional essence of the life you envision. Once you have a clear vision, refine it by asking yourself, are these desires truly mine, or are they shaped by others' expectations? Many people chase after things they think they should want, because their family, society, or culture values them. But attracting something you're not genuinely aligned with will always feel forced. Be brutally honest about what's meaningful to you. It's your life, your journey, and your power to create the experience you desire. So discard anything that doesn't resonate on a soul deep level. Honoring your authentic desires amplifies your energy of attraction because it's aligned with who you truly are. The next step is to define each desire in specific, tangible terms. Vague desires like I want more money or I want happiness are too general for the mind to grasp. Instead, state your desires in measurable, detailed terms. I want to increase my income by 20% this year through my work. Or I want to cultivate a relationship where I feel respected, loved, and inspired every day. Be precise about what you want. Because the clearer the target, the easier it is for your mind and the universe to zero in on it. This specificity turns abstract wishes into actionable goals, giving your energy direction and purpose. In clarifying your desires, don't be afraid to explore your motivations further by asking, how will I feel when I've achieved this? Attraction is an emotional process, not just a mental one. The emotional resonance of a goal is what powers it. When you can feel, in your mind and heart, what it will be like to live your desired reality, you are accelerating the process of attraction. These emotions are like fuel. They ignite your intention and make it magnetic. Allow yourself to feel the joy, peace, freedom, or love that achieving your desire would bring. Because those emotions are signals to the universe, drawing your vision closer with each feeling you embody. Finally, reinforce your clarified desires with unwavering commitment. Attraction isn't just about wanting something today and forgetting about it tomorrow. It's about holding a steady focus on your vision, even when the world around you seems unchanged. Remind yourself daily of what you want and why it matters. Visualization, journaling, and affirmations can help keep your desires fresh and alive in your mind. Consistency and focus keeps you from being distracted by doubts or competing goals. The more you focus on your clarified desires, the more aligned your thoughts, actions, and energy become with bringing them into reality. In summary, clarifying your desires is a process that requires introspection, honesty, and commitment. It's about uncovering what you truly want and declaring it with such clarity and purpose that it becomes an unbreakable commitment. When you're clear on your desires, you unlock the path to attracting them effortlessly. Clarity turns your dreams from vague fantasies into concrete goals, guiding your mind and actions in alignment with the life you truly wish to live. So don't leave your desires in the shadows. Bring them into the light, define them, and let your journey to attraction truly begin. Believing in your worth is not just a key to attracting what you want, it is the foundation upon which all your dreams rest. If you don't believe that you deserve what you desire, any effort to attract it will feel like a struggle. You might start with excitement, but doubt will creep in, eroding your confidence and leaving you feeling unworthy of your aspirations. Think of your sense of worth as the core of a magnet. A powerful magnet draws things toward it effortlessly, while a weak one fails to attract even what's close by. The same goes for our dreams and desires. When you have a strong sense of worth, you become a powerful magnet, drawing what you seek closer each day. Believing in your worth starts with recognizing that your desires matter. Many people shy away from wanting big things because they feel they're asking for too much. They settle for less because they've been conditioned to think that wanting more is selfish or unrealistic. But consider this: what if your desire for a meaningful career, a fulfilling relationship, financial stability, or vibrant health isn't just a random wish, but a natural part of who you are meant to become? The universe does not place desires in our hearts to tease us. Those desires are there to guide us toward our highest potential. To believe in your worth, you must understand that your dreams are valid, important, and worth pursuing without apology. It's easy to say, I deserve my dreams, but truly believing it requires a shift in mindset and self-perception. Start by looking at the beliefs you carry about yourself. Are they empowering or limiting? If you spent years internalizing the idea that you're not good enough, or that others deserve success more than you, these thoughts have likely become subconscious barriers blocking you from attracting what you want. Believing in your worth means consciously challenging these limiting beliefs. Every time a doubt surfaces, remind yourself that your worth is inherent. It doesn't depend on external achievements or others' opinions. You are deserving because you exist, and your dreams are a part of that worthiness. To cultivate a strong sense of worth, engage in daily practices that reinforce this belief. Start by speaking kindly to yourself. How you talk to yourself affects how you see yourself. Replace negative self-talk with affirmations like, I am worthy of every good thing that comes my way, or I deserve to live my dreams fully. At first, these affirmations might feel like just words, but repetition helps them sink in, changing how you feel about yourself. Think of each affirmation as a small seed you plant in your mind, nurturing a garden of self-worth over time. As this garden grows, you'll feel a powerful shift in your ability to attract what you want. Self-worth also means setting boundaries and respecting yourself enough to walk away from situations, people, or habits that diminish you. When you believe in your worth, you naturally gravitate toward experiences and relationships that honor and uplift you. If you accept things that do not serve your highest good, you're sending a signal to yourself and to the universe that you're willing to settle. But by holding yourself to a higher standard, you reinforce the belief that you deserve more. Boundaries are not walls, they are gateways that allow only the energy aligned with your worth into your life. Each time you set a boundary, you are affirming your value and clearing space for the things you truly desire. It's important to realize that believing in your worth doesn't make you arrogant or selfish. On the contrary, it makes you more authentic and grounded. When you embrace your worth, you stop comparing yourself to others. You no longer feel the need to diminish your dreams or justify your desires. You understand that there is enough abundance in the universe for everyone, including you. You recognize that your worth is as infinite as anyone else's, and there's no need to compete or prove yourself. This inner peace and self-acceptance make you a more open, compassionate, and confident individual. And ironically, these very qualities make you more attractive to others, further enhancing your power of attraction. Finally, to believe in your worth, envision yourself already living the life you desire. Picture yourself confidently moving through your days, achieving your goals, and receiving the opportunities and experiences you long for. Feel the joy and satisfaction of being exactly where you want to be. This mental rehearsal isn't just imagination, it's training your mind to accept that you are worthy of this life. When you can vividly see and feel yourself living in alignment with your worth, you are broadcasting a clear signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. Belief in your worth acts like a magnet, pulling opportunities, people, and resources toward you, reinforcing the truth of your inherent value. In conclusion, believing in your worth is essential to attracting the life you want. It's about recognizing that your dreams are valid, challenging limiting beliefs, nurturing self-affirmation, setting boundaries, and embracing your inherent value without comparison. When you truly believe you are worthy, you send a powerful signal to the universe, creating a magnetic force that draws your desires to you effortlessly. You're not just wishing for a better life, you're embodying the belief that you deserve it. And that belief is what transforms dreams into reality. Start today, stand firm in your worth, and watch as the life you envision begins to unfold around you. Visualization is a powerful tool for manifesting what you want in life, but it becomes infinitely more potent when you add emotion to it. Visualizing with emotion is like giving life to your dreams. It infuses them with energy, vibrancy, and a magnetic quality that draws your desires closer. When you see yourself in the reality you want, paired with the emotions of living that reality, you are actively creating a blueprint for the universe to follow. Imagine how vivid, how real, and how deeply felt your dreams can be when you visualize them with heartfelt emotion. The process begins with creating a mental image of your desired life, but don't stop at simply seeing it. Engage your senses and imagination to bring the vision to life. Imagine the details. What does it look like? Where are you? Who is with you? And what's happening around you? Visualize yourself achieving your goals, celebrating your wins, and thriving in the lifestyle you desire. However, to truly activate the power of attraction, move beyond just seeing this vision. Immerse yourself in the emotions it evokes. How do you feel in this moment? Are you filled with joy, confidence, gratitude, or a sense of fulfillment? Feel those emotions as intensely as possible, as if they were happening right now. Emotion is the fuel behind visualization. Without it, your visions are like uncharged batteries. They have potential but lack the power to come alive. Emotions are a form of energy, and this energy broadcasts your intentions to the universe like a beacon. When you feel emotions as if your desires were already yours, you are aligning your vibration with the frequency of those experiences. In other words, you are no longer just wanting something from a place of lack, but having it from a place of abundance. This shift in energy is incredibly powerful because it signals to the universe that you are already the person who has what you want, and the universe responds by bringing that reality closer to you. To deepen the emotional impact of your visualization, consider the specific feelings associated with achieving your desire. For example, if your goal is to attract a fulfilling relationship, visualize not just being with someone, but feeling deeply loved, supported, and connected. Imagine sharing moments of laughter, creating memories, and feeling secure and joyful. Allow these feelings to radiate within you to the point where your body responds to the emotions as if they are real. Similarly, if your goal is a successful career, don't just picture yourself in the role, imagine the pride, satisfaction, and confidence you feel every day. Feel the excitement of waking up to do work you love, the joy of accomplishments, and the appreciation from those you help or lead. These feelings are the keys to manifesting because they anchor your desires in the present. Many people struggle with visualization because they try to make things happen with their minds, forcing a vision rather than allowing it to flow naturally. But visualizing with emotion is about relaxing into the experience. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and allow the vision to arise without strain. Let the emotions naturally bubble up as you step into this imagined world. The emotions should feel natural, effortless, and genuine. When you allow your mind to paint this picture and your heart to feel it, your whole being aligns with your desire. You become the version of yourself who already has what you want, attracting it to you through this embodiment. Adding emotion to visualization also has a remarkable impact on your subconscious mind, which plays a crucial role in shaping your reality. The subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined, which is why dreams can feel so vivid. When you consistently visualize your desired life with deep emotion, you're effectively programming your subconscious mind to accept this as your reality. Over time, this programming influences your beliefs, thoughts, and actions, bringing you into alignment with the life you envision. You'll start to notice yourself taking inspired actions, making decisions that support your vision, and attracting people and opportunities that resonate with your desired outcome. Your subconscious mind becomes an ally in your journey, working with you to bring your dreams to life. One of the most beautiful aspects of visualizing with emotion is that it creates a sense of joy and fulfillment in the present moment. Instead of feeling a sense of lack or impatience for what's to come, you feel content and excited about the journey. Visualization with emotion allows you to enjoy the feelings associated with your dreams today, rather than waiting for some future moment to feel fulfilled. This enjoyment in the present is incredibly powerful, because it shifts you from a mindset of longing and waiting to one of gratitude and abundance. When you feel grateful and joyful for what you visualize, you are magnetizing those experiences to manifest in real life. In summary, visualizing with emotion is about stepping into the reality you desire with your whole heart. See your dream life, feel it deeply, and let those emotions flow through you as if you're already living it. By combining vivid imagery with heartfelt emotion, you create a magnetic force that draws your desires closer, reshapes your subconscious, and empowers you to take inspired actions toward your goals. So the next time you visualize, don't just imagine it, feel it. Let your emotions be the bridge that connects your dreams to reality, and watch as your visions start to take form in your life. Aligning your actions with your intentions is essential for manifesting what you desire. It's not enough to simply set a clear intention and visualize your dream life. Your actions must reflect those intentions if you want to create real change. When your daily behaviors, choices, and habits are in harmony with your goals, you begin to build momentum, becoming a magnet for your desires. Think of it like setting a destination on a map. Intention is the destination, and action is the path you take to get there. Without aligning your actions, you might know where you want to go, but you'll remain stuck, never reaching your destination. The first step to aligning your actions with your intentions is getting clear on what you want. This requires more than a vague idea. It calls for specificity and purpose. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Let's say you're aiming to be financially free. Define what that actually means to you. Is it about having a certain amount of money saved, being able to travel without worry, or having the resources to support your family? Once you're clear, write this intention down and revisit it daily to keep it fresh in your mind. When you keep your intention front and center, it acts as a compass, guiding your actions toward that vision. This clarity makes it easier to make choices that support your goal and avoid distractions that could lead you off course. However, clarity alone won't get you there. You must take intentional, focused action every day. Begin by identifying actions that directly contribute to achieving your goals, no matter how small they may seem. For example, if you're aiming for financial freedom, start by tracking your expenses, setting a savings goal, or creating multiple streams of income. Every action you take, no matter how small, should be a step toward the life you intend to create. Actions aligned with your intentions have a compounding effect. Each step builds upon the last, moving you closer to your dream. Over time, these small, consistent actions will build momentum and propel you toward your vision. An important part of aligning actions with intentions is ensuring that your habits support your goals. Our habits shape our lives in ways we may not even realize, and they either help us move closer to our intentions or hold us back. Take a look at your current habits and assess whether they align with your desired outcome. If your goal is to live a healthier life, but your habits include skipping workouts or choosing unhealthy meals, you're acting in conflict with your intention. To bring your actions in line with your intentions, make gradual changes to your habits. Start small, replace one unhealthy meal with a nutritious one, or commit to a short workout daily. Over time, these small shifts create significant progress and keep you aligned with your goal. Aligning actions with intentions also means choosing the right mindset and focusing on consistency. It's easy to act with intention when motivation is high, but what happens on the days when you feel unmotivated? This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is the bridge between setting an intention and achieving it, especially when things get challenging. There will be days when the path feels hard or uncertain, but staying consistent, even in small ways, keeps you moving forward. Consistency turns intention into habit, and habit into a lifestyle. The commitment to show up each day and take aligned action strengthens your connection to your goals and builds the confidence needed to keep going. Another powerful aspect of aligning actions with intentions is trusting the process. Sometimes when progress seems slow or challenges arise, it's tempting to doubt if your efforts are worthwhile. Trust that every aligned action, no matter how minor it seems, is contributing to your larger vision. Often it's the small, behind-the-scenes efforts that create the biggest transformations over time. Cultivate patience, knowing that results may not be immediate, but they will come. Each step, each choice, and each action plants a seed, and with consistent nurturing, these seeds will grow into the reality you desire. This trust in the process allows you to keep going even when you don't see immediate results, knowing that your commitment will pay off. Aligning your actions with your intentions requires flexibility and openness to change. Sometimes the path to your goal will unfold differently than expected. You may encounter setbacks or realize that certain actions aren't as effective as you hoped. When this happens, it's essential to stay adaptable and recalibrate your actions without losing sight of your intentions. Think of it like adjusting your route on a GPS. You might need to take a detour, but as long as your destination remains the same, every turn brings you closer. Embrace each obstacle as an opportunity to learn and grow, refining your approach while staying aligned with your vision. In essence, aligning your actions with your intentions is about living in harmony with your deepest desires and beliefs. It's about moving beyond just dreaming of a better life and actively building it, one choice at a time. When your actions reflect your goals and intentions, you create a powerful synergy between thought and action. This alignment transforms your intentions from mere wishes into actionable steps, bringing you closer to manifesting the life you desire. It's a journey that requires clarity, commitment, patience, and adaptability, but when you fully align your actions with your intentions, you become unstoppable in attracting and achieving what you truly want. Doubts and fears are like invisible chains that hold us back from the life we desire. They are the silent barriers that keep us from reaching our goals, often hiding beneath our daily thoughts and choices. When we harbor doubts, even subconsciously, we block the energy and positivity needed to manifest what we want. Releasing doubts and fears is therefore essential for attracting the life you dream of. It's not about pretending they don't exist, but about understanding them, facing them, and ultimately freeing yourself from their grip so you can move forward with confidence. The first step to releasing doubts and fears is to acknowledge them. Many people avoid thinking about their fears, hoping they'll disappear if ignored. But unacknowledged fears don't go away, they grow stronger in the shadows. Take some time to identify what you're truly afraid of. Are you afraid of failing, or are you scared of succeeding and the changes that may come with it? Perhaps you doubt your abilities or fear judgment from others. Whatever it is, be honest with yourself. Acknowledging your doubts and fears doesn't make you weak. It's an act of courage that paves the way for growth. Once you identify what's holding you back, you can begin the process of letting go. After you've identified your doubts and fears, take a moment to understand where they come from. Often, fears and doubts are rooted in past experiences, conditioned beliefs, or societal expectations. Perhaps someone once told you that your dream was unrealistic, or maybe you faced a setback that made you question your abilities. These experiences can plant seeds of doubt that grow over time, limiting your belief in what's possible. Reflecting on the origins of your fears can be empowering because it allows you to see them as temporary influences rather than absolute truths. You can start to separate yourself from these limiting beliefs, recognizing that they are stories from the past, not definitions of your future. One of the most effective ways to release doubt and fear is by replacing them with positive, affirming beliefs. This doesn't mean ignoring your challenges instead. It means choosing a mindset that empowers rather than limits you. Start by creating affirmations that resonate with your desires and goals. For instance, if you struggle with self-doubt, affirmations like "I am capable and deserving of success," or "I trust in my abilities to overcome any challenge" can be powerful. Repeat these affirmations daily, especially when doubts arise. Over time, they help reprogram your subconscious mind, replacing old, limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones. This shift from fear to confidence will transform how you approach your goals. Visualizing success is another powerful technique for releasing doubts and fears. When you vividly picture yourself achieving your goals, you create a mental blueprint that reinforces your belief in what's possible. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living the life you desire, without any doubts holding you back. See yourself confidently facing challenges, feeling fulfilled and successful. Allow yourself to experience the emotions associated with this reality: joy, pride, peace. Visualization not only clarifies your goals, but also strengthens your belief in your ability to achieve them. When doubts arise, revisit this mental image to remind yourself of your potential and keep your focus on what you want, rather than on what you fear. Letting go of fear and doubt is also about embracing uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and while that can be daunting, it also holds endless possibilities. Many fears stem from a need to control outcomes and avoid discomfort. However, true growth happens when we step out of our comfort zones and embrace the unknown. Trust that the universe has a way of aligning things in your favor when you're fully committed to your vision. You may not know every step of the journey, but you don't need to. Have faith that as you move forward, the path will unfold. Releasing control is liberating and allows you to remain open to opportunities and experiences that could lead to greater fulfillment than you originally imagined. Another key part of releasing doubts and fears is surrounding yourself with positivity and support. Spend time with people who believe in you and your dreams, and who inspire you to be your best self. When you're around supportive individuals, their confidence in you can help counteract your own doubts. Positive influences remind you of your strengths and keep you focused on your potential. Equally important is limiting exposure to negative voices or environments that fuel your fears. Create a space, whether physical, social, or mental, that nurtures your growth, encourages your belief in yourself, and supports the release of any doubts or fears that arise. In summary, releasing doubts and fears is about acknowledging them, understanding their origins, and consciously choosing empowering beliefs. It's a journey of self-discovery and self-compassion, allowing you to let go of the mental barriers that keep you from reaching your goals. As you move forward with courage and positivity, your fears will begin to lose their hold, freeing you to live more fully and authentically. By releasing doubts and fears, you open yourself up to the limitless potential within you, allowing your dreams to manifest and your life to transform in extraordinary ways. Practicing gratitude daily is one of the simplest yet most transformative habits you can cultivate. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. When something good happens, it's a mindset and a way of experiencing life. When you practice gratitude consistently, you shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have, which creates a powerful change in your energy and perception. Gratitude isn't about denying challenges or pretending life is perfect. It's about choosing to see the good in every day, no matter the circumstances. This daily habit can elevate your mood, enhance your relationships, and even increase your capacity to attract more of what you desire. When you start your day with gratitude, you set a positive tone for everything that follows. Imagine waking up each morning, and before checking your phone or diving into your to-do list, taking a moment to think about what you're grateful for. It could be as simple as the comfort of your bed, the warmth of a sunny morning, or the presence of loved ones in your life. By beginning your day in this way, you're actively choosing to start on a positive note, which can help you approach the day with a more open heart and a mindset ready for success. This simple act primes you to handle any challenges that arise with greater resilience and positivity. Gratitude also helps you stay present and fully engaged in your life. When you're constantly looking forward, waiting for the next achievement, the next purchase, or the next milestone, you may overlook the beauty of the current moment. Gratitude anchors you in the now, reminding you to appreciate what you have rather than always focusing on what's next. It's easy to fall into the trap of "I'll be happy" when thinking, but gratitude helps you realize that there is plenty to appreciate right now. Each moment you spend in gratitude deepens your connection to the present, making every experience more meaningful and fulfilling. Beyond just improving your mood, practicing gratitude daily has a profound impact on your physical and mental well-being. Studies have shown that people who regularly practice gratitude report lower stress levels, improved sleep, and a greater sense of overall well-being. Gratitude reduces the effects of toxic emotions like envy, resentment, and frustration by shifting your attention to what you appreciate rather than what you resent or lack. As you focus on the positive aspects of your life, you naturally start to feel happier, healthier, and more at peace. This doesn't mean that challenges will disappear, but gratitude equips you to face them with a mindset that looks for solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Gratitude also enhances your relationships. When you express appreciation for the people in your life, it deepens your connections and builds a stronger sense of trust and respect. Think about the impact of simply telling a friend, partner, or family member how much they mean to you. This small gesture can go a long way in strengthening your bond. By making gratitude a daily practice, you're more likely to recognize and express appreciation for the kindness, support, and love you receive from others. This not only uplifts them, but also creates a positive feedback loop that brings more warmth and joy into your life. Relationships built on gratitude are often more fulfilling, resilient, and mutually supportive. Moreover, gratitude is a powerful tool for attracting abundance. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you're sending a message to the universe that you recognize and appreciate what you already have. This attitude opens the door for more blessings to come into your life. By focusing on abundance rather than lack, you align yourself with the frequency of attraction, making it easier for new opportunities, resources, and positive experiences to flow toward you. I think of gratitude as the foundation upon which you build your dreams. It strengthens your belief that you're already living a life of abundance, which in turn attracts even more of what you desire. To make gratitude a sustainable daily habit, consider keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, write down at least 3 things you're thankful for. This doesn't have to be limited to big achievements sometimes. The simplest things are the most meaningful: a friendly conversation, a good meal, or a moment of quiet reflection. By recording your blessings, you create a tangible record of the positivity in your life. On days when you feel discouraged or overwhelmed, you can look back at your journal and be reminded of the many reasons you have to feel grateful. This practice doesn't just reinforce your gratitude, it helps you maintain a positive outlook even during difficult times. In the end, practicing gratitude daily is about nurturing a mindset that sees the world through a lens of abundance and positivity. It helps you break free from patterns of negativity, self-doubt, and constant striving. When you live in a state of gratitude, you're better able to appreciate the journey itself, rather than always waiting for the next destination. Gratitude creates a powerful foundation for personal growth, resilience, and happiness, empowering you to attract more of what you want by cherishing what you already have. This simple yet profound habit can be the key to transforming not only how you feel about your life, but also how you experience it. So take a few moments each day to pause, reflect, and give thanks, because gratitude truly is the gateway to a richer, more fulfilling life. Staying consistent and patient is the key to seeing lasting results in anything you pursue, especially when it comes to manifesting the life you want. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek instant results and quick fixes, the value of patience and persistence can often be overlooked. But in truth, every significant transformation takes time. When you're working towards a goal or trying to attract something meaningful into your life, consistency and patience become your most powerful allies. They help you build momentum and trust in the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Think of consistency as the daily commitment to take even the smallest steps toward your dreams. It doesn't require grand gestures, it's about showing up every day, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Each action you take, no matter how minor it may seem, accumulates over time to create the bigger picture of your success. Imagine planting a seed. You don't see it sprout overnight, but you water it, provide sunlight, and trust that, with time, it will grow. Manifesting is no different. Every positive habit, visualization, or action toward your goal is like a drop of water that nourishes the seed of your dream. Staying consistent keeps that dream alive, even when it's not yet visible. Patience, on the other hand, allows you to appreciate the journey rather than becoming overly fixated on the destination. Often we grow frustrated when we don't see instant progress, but true patience means understanding that every worthwhile outcome takes time. When you're patient, you give yourself permission to grow gradually and naturally. This mindset prevents you from feeling defeated by temporary setbacks, and it reminds you that the process itself is part of the reward. Being patient also allows you to remain flexible. Goals sometimes evolve, and the path may change, but with patience you're more likely to adapt, reassess, and stay committed without getting discouraged. Consistency and patience together create a powerful foundation for success, but they also help build resilience. That the journey toward any goal is rarely a straight line. You might encounter moments of doubt, obstacles, or external challenges. It's in these moments that consistency and patience become even more valuable. By continuing to take small, intentional steps each day, you develop a sense of resilience that keeps you moving forward, even when the going gets tough. Each day you stay committed, you're strengthening your ability to overcome challenges. And over time, this resilience becomes a core part of who you are, empowering you to face future obstacles with greater confidence. Consistency also strengthens your belief in yourself and your ability to manifest your dreams. Each time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how small, you build trust in your own word. You show yourself that you can rely on your actions, that you're willing to put in the effort even without immediate rewards. This self-trust is essential for manifestation, as it reinforces the belief that you are capable of achieving what you want. Over time, this belief becomes unshakable, and your self-confidence grows. You'll find yourself becoming the type of person who doesn't give up easily, who trusts in the process, and who knows their worth, regardless of how long it takes to see results. An important aspect of staying consistent and patient is managing expectations. Many people give up too soon because they have unrealistic timelines for success. They set their sights on big goals but become discouraged when they don't see immediate signs of progress. Instead, learn to appreciate the small wins along the way. Every step you take, every bit of progress you make, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. These small successes are evidence that you're moving in the right direction. When you begin to see each tiny victory as a sign of growth, you'll feel more motivated to keep going. Progress isn't always visible day by day, but each step forward adds up to a significant transformation. Consistency and patience also have a ripple effect on the energy you project to the world. When you're consistently working toward your goals with patience, you exude a sense of calm determination. This energy is magnetic and often attracts people, resources, and opportunities that align with your intentions. Others will sense your commitment and may even be inspired to support you in unexpected ways. Remember that your journey impacts not only you but also those around you. By embodying patience and consistency, you set an example of resilience and commitment, and this positive energy returns to you in ways that further support your path. Embracing patience and consistency allows you to fully enjoy the journey of manifesting your dreams. Life is not just about reaching the destination, it's about who you become along the way. Each day you remain consistent and patient, you're becoming a stronger, wiser, and more empowered version of yourself. The process of manifesting your dreams is, in many ways, just as valuable as the end result. It teaches you discipline, resilience, and self-love. So rather than rushing toward the finish line, embrace the opportunity to grow through every step. Trust that, with patience and consistency, you're building a life that aligns with your deepest desires. You'll look back and realize that every small action, every patient day, contributed to a journey that was as meaningful as the destination itself. In conclusion, the process of attracting what you want is not a mysterious or unattainable feat. It is a powerful, deliberate practice that begins within you. By clarifying your desires, believing in your worth, visualizing with emotion, aligning your actions with your intentions, releasing doubts and fears, practicing gratitude daily, and staying consistent and patient, you are creating a magnetic force that draws your desires to you. Each step, each action, no matter how small, adds up to a life that is intentional, fulfilling, and abundant. Remember, the key to manifesting your desires is not about force or struggle. It's about aligning your inner world with the external world you wish to create. It's about having faith in the process and trusting that everything is working in your favor, even when you can't immediately see the results. Stay committed to your journey, embrace the ups and downs, and believe wholeheartedly that the universe is responding to the energy you are putting out. So take a deep breath, step into your power, and know that everything you desire is already within your reach. Keep your thoughts positive, your actions consistent, and your heart full of gratitude. When you do this, you will not just attract what you want, you will create the life you deserve. The world is waiting for you to shine, and now is the time to fully step into your greatness.
Patience is one of the hardest virtues to practice in our fast-paced world. We live in a time where immediate gratification is celebrated and waiting feels like a burden. However, God's plans are not rushed by human impatience, and His timing is always perfect. Learning to wait on the Lord is not just about enduring the passage of time, but about growing in trust and understanding His divine plan. Today we'll uncover why waiting on God's timing is essential and how it transforms your life. God's timing is a concept woven deeply into the fabric of creation. From the movement of the planets to the growth of a seed, everything in the universe operates on a divine schedule. Ecclesiastes 3:11 beautifully captures this truth, stating, He has made everything beautiful in its time. This means that God's timing is neither random nor arbitrary, but intentional and perfect. It's easy for us to struggle with this concept because we often operate with a limited perspective, bound by the constraints of time. However, God exists outside of time, seeing the end from the beginning and orchestrating all events with precision and purpose. One of the most striking examples of God's timing is found in the life of Jesus Christ. The scriptures frequently refer to events in His life as happening at the appointed time. His birth was prophesied hundreds of years before it occurred. And when the time came, everything fell into place as God had planned. Galatians 4:4 says, But when the set time had fully come, God sent His Son. This verse highlights that Jesus' arrival was not by chance or convenience, but by divine appointment. It was a moment perfectly aligned with God's eternal plan for humanity's redemption. When we consider God's timing, we must acknowledge that it often conflicts with our human desires. We live in an age where speed and immediacy are prized. We want answers now, results now, and breakthroughs now. But God does not operate according to human impatience. His timing requires us to develop patience and trust, two virtues that are often tested during periods of waiting. It is during these seasons that we must cling to the truth of Isaiah 55:8-9, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." One reason God's timing is perfect is that it ensures everything aligns for the greatest good. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. He does not harvest the crop the day after planting because he understands that growth requires time. Similarly, God's timing takes into account not just the outcome but the process. He knows what needs to happen in us and around us to bring about the best possible result. Sometimes this involves circumstances that we cannot see or understand. For instance, God may delay an answer to prayer because He is preparing the hearts of people who will play a role in fulfilling that prayer. God's timing also protects us. There are moments when we are eager to step into something we desire, only to find the doors closed. While this may feel like rejection, it is often God's protection. He knows what lies ahead and shields us from harm that we cannot foresee. Consider the story of Joseph. At 17, Joseph had dreams of greatness, but his journey to fulfillment took years and involved betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. Looking at his story, it becomes clear that if Joseph had ascended to a position of power immediately, he would not have been equipped to handle the responsibility or influence that came with it. God's timing ensured that Joseph's character was refined and his circumstances were prepared, so when the moment came, he was ready to fulfill his purpose. Another aspect of God's timing is its role in teaching us dependence. When we rely on our own schedules and plans, we can fall into the trap of self-reliance. Waiting on God humbles us and reminds us that He is the ultimate authority over our lives. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." This verse emphasizes that while we may make plans, it is God who determines the timing and the path. Furthermore, God's timing allows for the greatest glory to be given to Him. When events unfold in a way that cannot be attributed to human effort or planning, it becomes evident that God is at work. This was seen in the story of Lazarus. Jesus delayed going to Lazarus when he was sick, even though He loved him deeply. By the time Jesus arrived, Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days. Yet this delay was intentional. When Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, it demonstrated His power and authority in a way that healed a sick man never could. God's timing reveals His faithfulness. Throughout Scripture, God's promises are fulfilled, not always when people expect them, but always at the right time. Abraham and Sarah waited 25 years for the promise of a son, and during that time they experienced doubt and impatience. Yet when Isaac was finally born, they saw that God had been faithful all along. His timing not only fulfilled the promise, but also strengthened their faith and dependence on Him. Understanding God's timing requires us to shift our perspective from the immediate to the eternal. It challenges us to trust in His wisdom, His plans, and His love for us, knowing that every delay, every waiting season is part of a beautiful and purposeful design. Waiting is not merely a passive experience, it is a profound spiritual discipline that strengthens our faith. In the Bible, faith is described as the confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see, Hebrews 11:1. Waiting requires us to hold on to this confidence and assurance, even when our circumstances suggest otherwise. It is during these moments of uncertainty that our faith is tested, stretched, and ultimately strengthened. The act of waiting often feels like being placed in a spiritual classroom. During this time, God teaches us to trust Him deeply and completely. When we are in a hurry for answers or breakthroughs, we tend to focus on what we can do to fix or expedite the situation. However, waiting reminds us that many things are beyond our control, forcing us to lean on the one who controls everything. This reliance on God is what builds the foundation of our faith. The story of the Israelites wandering in the wilderness is a powerful example of how waiting builds faith. After leaving Egypt, they were promised a land flowing with milk and honey. Yet, what could have been a short journey turned into 40 years of waiting in the desert. During this time, God used their waiting to teach them trust, obedience, and dependence on Him. They were given daily manna, not as an abundance to store, but as a daily provision to build their faith in God's ability to meet their needs. Waiting became a tool through which they learned that their survival and future depended entirely on God's faithfulness. Waiting also refines our character. Faith is not just about believing in God, it's about becoming more like Him. When we wait, we are often forced to confront our impatience, fears, and doubts. These moments challenge us to surrender our timeline and agenda to God. In doing so, we grow in virtues such as patience, humility, and perseverance, qualities that deepen our faith and prepare us for greater responsibilities. Romans 5:3-4 says, "Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. Waiting, though uncomfortable, is a process that molds us into the people God has called us to be." Another way waiting builds faith is by teaching us to trust God's promises over our perceptions. In seasons of delay, it is easy to feel like God has forgotten us or that His promises will never come to pass. However, waiting challenges us to hold on to His word despite what we see or feel. Abraham's journey of waiting for Isaac is a testament to this. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of many nations, yet years passed without any sign of fulfillment. Despite moments of doubt, Abraham ultimately chose to believe in God's promise. Romans 4:20-21 says, "Yet he did not waver through unbelief regarding the promise of God, but was strengthened in his faith and gave glory to God, being fully persuaded that God had power to do what He had promised." Abraham's waiting strengthened his faith because it forced him to trust God's word over his circumstances. Waiting also draws us closer to God. In the silence of waiting, we are compelled to seek Him more earnestly. When answers don't come quickly, our prayers often become deeper and more heartfelt. Instead of focusing solely on the outcome, we begin to focus on the one who holds the outcome. This intimacy with God nurtures our faith as we experience His presence and peace in ways that are often missed in the rush of life. David, a man after God's own heart, wrote in Psalm 27:14, "Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart and wait for the Lord." His words reflect the strength and courage that come from waiting in faith and leaning on God's presence. Additionally, waiting builds faith by reminding us of God's sovereignty. When we wait, we acknowledge that we are not the ultimate authors of our lives. This shift in perspective helps us to trust that God's plans are not only greater than ours, but also perfectly timed. Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." Waiting humbles us and reinforces our belief in God's authority and wisdom, even when we don't understand His timing. Lastly, waiting prepares us to recognize and value God's blessings when they arrive. Often it is in the waiting that we develop a deeper appreciation for what God is doing in our lives. The fulfillment of His promises becomes even more meaningful when we reflect on the journey of faith it took to get there. This process of waiting and trusting deepens our gratitude and strengthens our faith, knowing that every step was guided by His hand. Impatience is one of the greatest barriers to experiencing the fullness of God's perfect plan. When we act out of impatience, we often rely on our own understanding and make decisions without waiting for divine guidance. These impulsive actions can lead to unnecessary hardships, detours, and regrets. The consequences of impatience are vividly illustrated throughout the Bible, revealing that rushing ahead of God's timing often results in mistakes that could have been avoided by trusting Him. One of the most notable examples of impatience is found in the story of Abraham and Sarah. God had promised them a child through whom nations would come. Yet, as the years passed, they began to doubt the timing of this promise. Out of impatience, Sarah suggested that Abraham have a child with her maidservant, Hagar. This decision, though culturally acceptable at the time, was not God's plan. The result was conflict, heartache, and division in their household. While God remained faithful to His promise and eventually gave them Isaac, the consequences of their impatience created challenges that reverberated through generations. This story serves as a cautionary tale about how impatience can lead us to take matters into our own hands, often with unintended consequences. Impatience is often fueled by fear and a lack of trust in God. When we don't see immediate results, we become anxious and start to question whether God is truly working on our behalf. This fear can push us to make hasty decisions, bypassing the wisdom and direction that come from waiting on Him. Proverbs 19:2 warns, "Desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way?" Acting without understanding or guidance often leads to mistakes that could have been avoided with patience and prayer. Impatience also blinds us to God's larger purpose. When we rush, we often focus solely on immediate gratification or the solution to a specific problem. However, God's plans are comprehensive and multidimensional. He is not just addressing our immediate needs, but also preparing us for future blessings and shaping our character. By succumbing to impatience, we risk interrupting this divine process and settling for less than God's best. The Israelites, for example, grew impatient while waiting for Moses to return from Mount Sinai. In their frustration, they created a golden calf to worship, forsaking the God who had delivered them from Egypt. This act of impatience led to severe consequences, demonstrating how rushing ahead of God can lead to spiritual compromise. Another significant consequence of impatience is the strain it places on our relationships. Decisions made in haste often affect not only ourselves but also those around us. For instance, King Saul lost his kingdom because of impatience. In 1 Samuel 13, Saul grew anxious as the prophet Samuel delayed arriving to offer a sacrifice before battle. Instead of waiting, Saul took matters into his own hands and performed the sacrifice himself, an act that violated God's commands. This impulsive decision cost him God's favor and ultimately his kingship. His impatience not only affected his destiny but also impacted the nation of Israel. Impatience can also hinder our spiritual growth. Seasons of waiting are opportunities for God to work in us, refining our character, deepening our faith, and aligning our hearts with His will. When we skip over these moments, we miss out on the lessons and blessings that come from the process. James 1:4 encourages us to let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Rushing ahead may provide temporary relief, but it often comes at the expense of the spiritual maturity that develops through patience. Furthermore, impatience distorts our perspective, making us more susceptible to temptation. When we are eager to escape discomfort or achieve a particular outcome, we become vulnerable to compromises and shortcuts that lead us away from God's path. This was evident in the life of Esau, who sold his birthright to Jacob for a single meal because of his impatience and hunger. What Esau saw as an immediate need cost him something far greater in the long run. His story reminds us that impatience often leads to decisions we later regret. Impatience can also undermine our witness as believers. When others see us acting rashly, it can reflect poorly on our faith in God's sovereignty and timing. As Christians, we are called to be examples of trust and obedience. When we wait patiently, we demonstrate to the world that our confidence is in God, not in our circumstances. On the other hand, impatience can send a message of doubt and self-reliance, which contradicts the very faith we profess. Lastly, impatience disrupts our peace. Acting out of impatience often leaves us feeling anxious, frustrated, and overwhelmed. This is because impatience is rooted in our desire to control situations that are beyond our power. True peace comes from trusting in God's timing and surrendering our plans to Him. Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." Impatience robs us of this peace by shifting our focus from God's faithfulness to our own limitations. In every aspect, impatience proves to be a costly path, leading to mistakes that not only delay God's best, but also create unnecessary challenges along the way. By learning to wait, we align ourselves with God's wisdom, timing, and purpose. Waiting is not merely a period of inactivity, it is a divine process of preparation. During seasons of waiting, God works behind the scenes to ready us for what lies ahead. Preparation often requires time because it is about more than just receiving blessings. It is about becoming the person who can carry the weight of those blessings responsibly. This is the essence of waiting, allowing God to shape, mold, and equip us for the purpose He has prepared for our lives. In the Bible, we see countless examples of individuals who underwent seasons of waiting as part of their preparation. One striking example is Joseph. At a young age, Joseph received a dream from God, revealing that he would one day rise to a position of great authority. However, the fulfillment of this dream did not come immediately. Joseph endured years of waiting, marked by betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. While these circumstances seemed far from the promise God had given him, they were not wasted. Each trial was a step in the preparation process. Through them, Joseph developed leadership skills, resilience, and an unwavering faith in God. By the time he became second in command in Egypt, Joseph was ready to handle the responsibility with wisdom and integrity. Waiting refines our character. It exposes areas of weakness and gives us the opportunity to grow in strength, patience, and humility. When we face delays, we often confront emotions such as frustration, doubt, and even fear. These moments of discomfort reveal what lies in our hearts and challenge us to surrender our will to God. In the refining process, God purges what does not align with His purpose and strengthens qualities that will sustain us in the future. Malachi 3:3 compares God to a refiner, saying, "He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Waiting is the fire through which we are purified, becoming vessels ready to be used for His glory." Waiting also sharpens our vision and clarifies our purpose. When we are in a hurry, it is easy to become distracted by short-term goals or temporary desires. However, seasons of waiting force us to slow down and reflect. In this stillness, God often reveals deeper insights about His plans for our lives. The prophet Habakkuk provides a beautiful example of this in Habakkuk 2:2-3, where he writes, "Write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets, so that a herald may run with it. For the revelation awaits an appointed time, it speaks of the end, and will not prove false." Waiting gave Habakkuk the clarity and focus needed to align his vision with God's timing. During waiting periods, God often equips us with the skills and resources we will need for the next season. David, before becoming king of Israel, spent years as a shepherd. While tending sheep, he developed skills such as courage, protection, and leadership, which would later serve him in leading a nation. Additionally, his time in the fields deepened his relationship with God, as evidenced in the Psalms he wrote. Without this period of preparation, David might not have been ready to face the challenges of kingship. Similarly, our waiting seasons are opportunities for growth, learning, and preparation for what God has in store. Another aspect of preparation through waiting is the strengthening of our dependence on God. In a culture that values self-sufficiency and instant results, waiting teaches us to rely on God instead of our own abilities. This dependence fosters a deeper intimacy with Him, as we learn to trust His guidance and provision. Psalm 37:7 says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him in stillness." We are reminded that it is not by our strength but by His power that we are prepared for the tasks ahead. Waiting also builds endurance, which is essential for fulfilling God's purpose. In the same way that an athlete trains for a race, waiting develops the stamina we need to face the challenges and responsibilities of the future. James 1:4 says, "Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." The process of waiting strengthens our resolve, enabling us to stand firm when the pressures of life arise. Additionally, waiting aligns our hearts with God's timing and will. Sometimes delays occur not because we are unprepared, but because the circumstances around us are not yet ready. For example, Esther had to wait for the right moment to approach the king and save her people. Her patience and discernment allowed God to orchestrate events perfectly, leading to a divine outcome. Waiting teaches us to trust that God's timing is not only about preparing us, but also about preparing the environment for His plans to unfold. Finally, waiting fosters gratitude. When we receive blessings after a period of waiting, we often appreciate them more deeply. The process reminds us that every good gift comes from God and is not something we earn or achieve on our own. This gratitude cultivates a heart of worship as we recognize that the preparation and the blessing are both acts of His grace. Trusting God means relinquishing the illusion of control over our lives and placing our confidence in His sovereignty. Control often feels like a form of security, a way to ensure that our desires and plans come to fruition. However, the reality is that human control is limited and fallible, whereas God's power and wisdom are infinite. Trusting Him over our ability to control situations requires humility and faith, but it opens the door for Him to work in ways far beyond what we could achieve on our own. Control is rooted in fear, the fear of uncertainty, failure, or loss. When we attempt to control every aspect of our lives, it is often because we are afraid to leave room for the unknown. Yet God calls us to trust Him precisely in those moments of uncertainty. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Leaning on our understanding can lead to decisions that, while logical to us, may not align with God's purpose. Trusting Him requires releasing our grip on the situation and allowing His wisdom to guide us. Trusting God over control means recognizing that His perspective is far greater than ours. As finite beings, we can only see the immediate circumstances in front of us. God, however, sees the end from the beginning. Isaiah 55:8-9 declares, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." By placing our trust in Him, we acknowledge that He is orchestrating a plan that transcends what we could ever comprehend. The struggle between trust and control is a recurring theme in Scripture. One of the most compelling examples is found in the life of Moses. When God called Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses initially resisted, doubting his own ability to control the situation. Yet God reminded Moses that the success of the mission did not depend on his strength, but on God's power. As Moses learned to trust God, he witnessed miraculous signs and wonders that no human effort could achieve. His story illustrates that surrendering control allows God's power to manifest in ways that exceed our limitations. Relinquishing control also involves surrendering the timeline of events. Waiting can be one of the most challenging aspects of trust because it confronts our desire for immediate results. However, trust is tested and strengthened in the waiting. When we trust God, we accept that His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our expectations. The story of Mary and Martha in John 11 offers a profound example. When their brother Lazarus fell ill, they sent for Jesus, expecting Him to come immediately. Instead, Jesus delayed, arriving only after Lazarus had died. While the delay seemed like a failure in timing, it was part of a greater plan. Jesus performed a miracle by raising Lazarus from the dead, revealing His power over life and death. This account reminds us that trusting God's timing often leads to outcomes that far surpass our expectations. Trust is not passive, it is an active choice to align our will with God's. This alignment often requires us to let go of our plans, ambitions, and even our fears. In doing so, we make room for God to work in ways that fulfill His purpose. The Apostle Paul demonstrated this trust when he faced countless trials, from imprisonment to shipwrecks. Despite his circumstances, Paul trusted in God's sovereignty, declaring in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Paul's unwavering trust enabled him to endure hardships with confidence that God was in control. When we trust God over control, we also embrace the truth that His love for us is perfect. Human control is often driven by the belief that we must secure our own well-being because no one else will. Yet, Scripture assures us that God is a loving Father who provides for His children. Matthew 6:26 says, "Look at the birds of the air, they do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?" Trusting in His love allows us to release our grip on control, knowing that He will provide for our needs. Ultimately, trust is an act of worship. By surrendering control, we acknowledge that God is sovereign, faithful, and worthy of our trust. This act of surrender not only deepens our relationship with Him, but also positions us to receive the fullness of His promises. One of the most profound truths in our journey of faith is understanding that a delay in receiving what we are praying for does not equate to a denial. God's timing operates on a level that transcends our human understanding, and delays are often part of His divine plan for our lives. They serve as an essential tool for refining our faith, character, and trust in Him. When God delays, it is not because He is indifferent to our needs or unaware of our struggles. Instead, He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances to bring about His perfect will at the appointed time. Biblically, we find countless examples where delays seemed like setbacks, but in reality, they were setups for something far greater. Consider Abraham and Sarah, who waited decades for the fulfillment of God's promise to give them a child. In their old age, when it seemed humanly impossible, Isaac was born, fulfilling God's covenant. The delay was not a denial, but a demonstration of God's power and faithfulness. It also taught Abraham and Sarah to rely entirely on God rather than their own plans. Through their story, we learn that God's delays are purposeful and are designed to strengthen our faith and deepen our dependence on Him. Delays are often God's way of protecting us. There are times when we feel ready to step into a new season or receive a blessing, but God, in His wisdom, sees what we cannot. He knows that moving too quickly may lead to outcomes we are unprepared to handle. Just as a loving parent withholds certain privileges from a child until they are ready, God withholds blessings until we are equipped to steward them wisely. In Exodus 13, 17, 18, we see that when God led the Israelites out of Egypt, He did not take them on the shortest route to the promised land. Instead, He led them through the wilderness, knowing that they were not yet ready to face the challenges ahead. This delay was an act of protection and preparation, ensuring they were strong enough to claim their inheritance when the time came. Delays also test the authenticity of our faith. It is easy to trust God when answers come quickly, but what happens when the wait is prolonged? Delays reveal whether our faith is rooted in our circumstances or in God's unchanging character. James 1:3-4 reminds us, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. The waiting period refines us, shaping us into vessels capable of receiving God's promises with gratitude and maturity. During delays, God often aligns our desires with His will. Sometimes what we ask for in our impatience may not be what we truly need or what aligns with His purpose for our lives. Delays give us time to reflect, pray, and seek God's guidance. In doing so, we may find that our prayers shift from God, "Give me this now," to "Lord, let your will be done." This shift is a sign of spiritual growth and trust as we surrender our desires to the greater plan He has for us. Delays can also be a time of divine setup for His glory to be revealed. In John 11, when Jesus delayed going to Lazarus, it appeared as though He had abandoned His friend in a moment of need. Yet this delay was part of a greater plan to demonstrate His power over death. Jesus said to His disciples, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." When Lazarus was raised from the dead, the delay resulted in a miracle that strengthened the faith of many and glorified God. Similarly, the delays we experience may be preparing the way for God to perform a work in our lives that will exceed our expectations and glorify His name. Another aspect of delays is the preparation of the environment around us. Sometimes the delay is not about us, but about other factors that need to align with God's plan. For example, David was anointed king as a young shepherd boy, but he did not ascend to the throne until years later. During this time, God was not only preparing David, but also preparing the nation of Israel to receive him as their leader. The delay was necessary to ensure that everything fell into place according to God's perfect timing. Delays teach us patience, a virtue that is vital in our walk with God. Patience is more than waiting, it is waiting with a heart of trust and peace, knowing that God's plans for us are good. Psalm 27:14 encourages us, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." In the waiting, we learn to rest in His promises and trust that His timing is always best. This patience not only deepens our relationship with God, but also prepares us to face future challenges with greater resilience and faith. Moreover, delays give us an opportunity to experience God's sustaining grace. When answers are delayed, we learn to rely on Him daily for strength, guidance, and provision. It is in these moments of waiting that we come to know God as our sustainer and provider, deepening our relationship with Him in ways that might not happen during seasons of abundance. Delays remind us that God's promises are sure, even when they take time to manifest. In Habakkuk 2:3, we are assured, for the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. This truth encourages us to hold on to hope, knowing that God's delays are not denials but opportunities for His perfect plan to unfold. Patience is often viewed as a passive virtue, a waiting game where one endures hardship in silence. However, in the context of God's timing, patience is an active, intentional posture of faith that leads to profound rewards. It is a deliberate choice to trust in God's promises and believe that He is faithful to fulfill them in due season. Patience is not merely about waiting, it is about how we wait. It is a demonstration of trust that God's plan is worth the wait and that His blessings will come in ways far greater than we can imagine. The Bible is rich with examples of how patience led to remarkable rewards. Abraham, often referred to as the father of faith, exemplifies this truth. God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, yet the fulfillment of this promise required patience. For decades, Abraham and Sarah waited, navigating moments of doubt and struggle. When Isaac was finally born, their joy was immeasurable because they knew this child was the fulfillment of God's promise. The reward of their patience was not just the birth of Isaac, but the establishment of a covenant that would shape the history of nations. This story reminds us that patience often leads to blessings that are not only personal but also far-reaching in impact. Patience also refines our character, making us ready to receive the rewards God has for us. The waiting period is often a time of preparation, where God shapes us, strengthens us, and aligns us with His will. James 1:4 says, "Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." The trials that require patience are not obstacles to our blessings. They are the tools God uses to prepare us for them. The reward of patience is not only the blessing itself, but also the growth and maturity we gain along the way. Consider the life of Joseph, who endured years of hardship before stepping into the destiny God had planned for him. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, Joseph had every reason to lose patience and give up on God's promises. Yet, he remained faithful, trusting in God's plan despite his circumstances. When the time came, Joseph was elevated to a position of great authority in Egypt, a role that allowed him to save countless lives during a famine, including the very family that betrayed him. The reward of Joseph's patience was not only personal vindication, but also the fulfillment of God's greater purpose for his life. Patience teaches us to value God's blessings more deeply. When we receive something immediately, we may take it for granted or fail to recognize its true worth. However, when we wait patiently, the reward becomes all the more precious because we understand the journey it took to receive it. This principle is echoed in Psalm 126:5-6, which says, "Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with them." The tears of patience are transformed into the joy of reward when God fulfills His promises. Patience also allows God to demonstrate His power and faithfulness in ways that glorify Him. When the Israelites were trapped at the Red Sea, their patience was tested as Pharaoh's army closed in behind them. In that moment of waiting, God performed one of the most spectacular miracles in history, parting the sea and delivering His people to safety. The reward of their patience was not only their deliverance, but also a powerful testimony of God's might that would be remembered for generations. The rewards of patience often extend beyond our own lives, impacting those around us and even future generations. The rewards of patience often extend beyond our own lives, impacting those around us and even future generations. When we remain patient and steadfast, we become a testimony to others of God's faithfulness. Our patience can inspire others to trust in Him, creating a ripple effect of faith and hope. This is particularly evident in the story of Job, whose patience in the face of unimaginable loss became a testament to God's faithfulness. In the end, Job was rewarded not only with restoration, but also with a deeper understanding of God's sovereignty and goodness. Patience positions us to receive God's best, rather than settling for what is immediate. In our rush to see results, we may be tempted to take shortcuts or settle for less than what God intends for us. However, when we wait patiently, we open ourselves to receive blessings that are complete and perfect in God's timing. Isaiah 40:31 beautifully captures this truth, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles, they will run and not grow weary, they will walk and not be faint. The reward of patience is a life that is renewed and empowered by God's provision. Patience requires a shift in focus from the temporary to the eternal. When we focus solely on our immediate circumstances, we may grow weary and discouraged. However, when we fix our eyes on God and His promises, we gain the strength to endure. Hebrews 12:1-2 encourages us to run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. The ultimate reward of patience is not just the blessings we receive in this life, but the eternal joy of being in God's presence and fulfilling His purpose for our lives. In essence, patience is not merely about enduring the wait, but about trusting in God's timing and His ability to bring about His perfect plan. The rewards of patience are manifold spiritual growth, a deeper relationship with God, blessings that exceed our expectations, and the joy of seeing His promises fulfilled in ways that glorify Him. Through patience, we learn to value the journey as much as the destination, knowing that God is faithful to reward those who wait on Him. As we reflect on the journey of waiting and trusting in God's timing, we are reminded that every moment of delay has a purpose. God's timing is never random, it is perfect and intricately designed to align with His divine plan for our lives. Through waiting, our faith is strengthened, our character refined, and our hearts prepared to receive the fullness of His blessings. Impatience may tempt us to take matters into our own hands, but as we have seen, it often leads to missteps that could derail God's greater plan for us. In waiting, we find preparation not just for the blessings we desire, but for the person God is calling us to become. Trusting in God over our own control teaches us humility and dependence on His wisdom. It reminds us that delays are not denials, but rather opportunities for God to align circumstances, prepare us, and bring glory to His name in ways we could not have imagined. Patience, when rooted in faith, yields profound rewards that surpass anything we could achieve through our own efforts. The journey of waiting is not always easy, but it is always worthwhile. As we trust in God's timing, let us remember that His ways are higher than ours, and His plans are always for our good. Waiting is not wasted time, it is a sacred season of growth, faith, and alignment with the divine will of the one who knows the end from the beginning. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you are waiting for a breakthrough, a promise to be fulfilled, or an answer to your prayers, hold on. Trust in God's perfect timing. Let your waiting be an act of faith, a declaration that you believe in His power, His wisdom. For those who wait on the Lord will always find that His promises are true, His timing is perfect, and His rewards are beyond measure.